Hi, welcome back to another episode of Justlivin Designs podcast. My name is Shannon, Justlivin Designs. This is episode number 38, and it is Thursday, April 10th, about 9:30 in the morning. This will come out Friday like usual. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming back. To all my recurring viewers, thanks to new viewers. I always love seeing all the new people coming along. This is my podcast that I talk about knitting mainly, sometimes crochet. I'll go through the normal finished objects, whips, acquisitions if I have any, and then I end with reading, watching life stuff. This episode, I'm going to start off with my stats for March, because this is the first time I've recorded since the month ended. So we'll get right into that. Oh, and everything that I talk about, I'll try to have a link down below if it has a link. Ravelry project pages, yarn dyers, bag makers. I'll try to link all that stuff down below so it's easy for you guys to find it. And then all my information's down below as well. Justlivin Designs on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads. Not so active on Blue Sky and Threads. I'm mostly active on Instagram. But yeah, all right, March stats, get back into that. So I had a little bit more yarn come in than went out, not much. I had 590 grams in, so I pay attention to just grams. I don't care about weight or anything else. Grams makes it simple. Grams in, 590 yards. That was 2 months of my club yarn from Freckled Whimsy, and then the Joann's yarn that I got for knitting those Stella quilt pillows. And then I had 576 grams go out, so really close. I've been good up to this point on always having more go out than in, so I'm not too worried about this at all. Out of that, I had 8 finished objects this last month. 6 of them were socks. If you know me, you know I knit a lot of socks. I love to knit socks. It's my go-to when I don't know what else to knit. And then with all the leftovers, I make scrappy blankets and scrappy projects. Or like you'll see in some of today's things, I will use leftover bits of sock yarn that I've maybe already used for a sock project previously and make another pair of socks. Because a lot of times I can get 2 pairs out of 100 grams. Especially if I'm making shorties or if I'm using contrast, I can generally do that for at least my size. Yeah, I think that's about it for the stats. So I'll put that book down. We'll get into finished out. Oh, first I'll talk about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a Sesame Street t-shirt. On the back of the shirt, it has the back side of them. So you see them from the back, on the back. It's kind of, I love this shirt. But yeah, grew up on Sesame Street. You know, I'm in my 40s. Sesame Street, my kids grew up on Sesame Street. I mean, everybody grows up on Sesame Street, right? But this sweater is, what is this one called? It's a Ho-He pattern, Like a Cloud. I knit it many, many years ago with Brooklyn Tweed, was it Veil? Their lace weight. And then Farmer's Daughter Fibers Mighty Mo, their mohair, and like olive oil, I want to say the color was. So it's all the color variation is in the hand dyed yarn, the mohair. But yeah, this was a labor of love because it's like essentially a fingering weight sweater because it's 2 lace weights held together, in texture all over, and it's long, like, so it's not a short cardigan. It's a long cardigan. So labor of love. I love it. I do love it. So the end product is great, but I hated knitting it. All right. Right into finished objects. All my finished objects this week, this episode, because it's 2 weeks, I guess, are socks. I was almost done with these last time. I had one done and I was like, I don't know, maybe about down to here on the second one. So I finished it up maybe even that day. I might have finished it up after I podcast last time while I was editing. But these are my, calling them my spring shorty socks. I used my trusty top-down sock pattern, which is a 9 sizes, has a heel flap and gusset with a garter stitch edge. I love this one for just basic sock. The only thing I did different is I did a 2x1 rib for the cuff. And this was knit with, both of these colorways were from Big Sky Yarn Co. I've had them in stash forever. This was back when we had a different yarn shop in town. And I used to work at that yarn shop. That's actually where I got the lace weight, the Brooklyn Tweed lace weight, because they sold Brooklyn Tweed there. Was at that yarn shop. So this one is Star Sock base, Bonnie's Apron is the main color. And then I didn't have a color tag for the blue, but I know it was them as well. But yeah. So that's the first finished object. These ones will probably be for me. I made them taller like my daughter likes, but I was planning on them be for me. So they're probably mine. Next one was another whip from last time. It is my the Christmas socks that I originally was knitting for my son, but then he decided he doesn't like hand knit socks. So I made them to fit, they were the same width that I would use for me or my daughter. Just I wasn't sure about the length of the foot before, which is why I never finished them, because he's growing right now and his feet are ever changing. So I was going to wait until closer to Christmas next year to actually finish these off. But since he decided he doesn't really like to wear hand knit socks, I was like, why am I wasting time making him socks then? I'll make them for either me or my daughter. So I'm not sure who's going to get these, but this is the same pattern, Trusty Top Down Socks by me. And this one I did a 1x1 rib and a 3x1 for the leg, because when they were originally for my son, he liked rib socks, but so does my daughter. So, and I don't mind rib socks. I prefer them actually if I'm not, like when I'm wearing leggings, my socks never fall down, because the leggings are more grabby, I guess, to the sock fabric. But when I'm not wearing leggings, they do have a tendency to fall down, like when I'm just wearing jeans. So the ribbing socks or socks with like a cable or something that sucks in better does stay up better. But yeah, so this one was a Whimsical Wood Yarn Co. was the main color, and it was Eucerius Clark, which is Cousin Eddie colorway from Christmas Vacation. And I originally had knit this a long time ago. I tried to start it, or last year, I tried to start it for my husband, but the pooling that was happening was lining up these blips just on one part of the sock, and it was just going to line up until I got to basically this, and then it would start lining up again, just because of the stitch count I was using and my gauge. And so this stitch count, which is what I think a good 8 stitches less than what I would knit my husband, made it pool much nicer where it actually goes around the sock and it looks a lot better. The contrast color was a Knit Picks Stroll Tonal. I don't know if they make those anymore, but I had this from many different things and it just kind of goes into whatever. It's leftovers. All right. So that one's done. And it will probably just go up and be brought out at Christmas time for, like I said, either me or my daughter. Last pair, I made my April stash yarn socks. So if you've been here, I did this all last year as well, but I pull out at the beginning or the end of the year, I'll pull out 12 sock sets or skeins of sock yarn from my stash, put them in brown paper bags, and then draw randomly to give myself like a yarn club. That's kind of a mystery. And use up some of my stash yarn. So this is the yarn that was in there. It was perfect. I was planning on making these for my daughter, and so I made her some tall shorties. Again, I did 2x1 cuff, and then this pattern is my my other heel flap and gusset pattern, which is GHFSS. Good heel for self-striping yarn, because compared to, I do this every time, but compared to this sock, you can see how long that gusset is from where the heel flap is. This one is a lot shorter, and it doesn't disrupt the stripes nearly as much because the heel turn is a square turn. So the heel turn is deeper and the gusset doesn't have as many stitches to decrease because it has a deeper heel turn. Anyway, she didn't want these matching, or she didn't care if they matched or not, so I didn't even worry about it. I just made sure I cast on at a color change to get that like single row essentially of a color at top, and that way the stripes would kind of land in the same approximate spot. So here the heel is in the middle of a purple and here it's in the middle of a green, and then they kind of end about the same too. That's an easy way with self-striping if you're doing the if you're casting on, is to do your long tail cast on right where that color change is, or even if you do a different color for the cuff, you can start knitting right where that color changes when you switch to the self-striping, and that way you can get very even socks. But this yarn is from Freckled Whimsy. It was the Wednesday Club. She had this running in 2023, and I didn't participate in it the whole year, but this was July's colorway from 2023. It was called Emotional Morse Code, and my daughter loves purple, and so I knew that this would be a good pair for her. So, and she requested tall shorties because it's getting to that season and she doesn't have as many of the taller shorties that she would like for wearing them with her Converse. Like I said, she wears high top Converse and she prefers tall shorties. And this is her birthday month, and so those might be some part of her birthday present. I mean, she's seen me make them. She told me how to do it, so it's not like it's going to be a surprise, but I always usually give them something knitted for their birthdays. Used to be socks for everybody, but now that my son doesn't like socks, I gotta figure out something else for him. So that's all my finished objects. Like I said, all socks. I could have probably finished my husband's sweater, but I just didn't work on it as much as I should have. So it's not quite done yet. But I'll talk about those in whips. So whips, I'm gonna talk about some socks first, and then I'll talk about the sweater. Works in progress. This bag is one of my favorite sock bags. It's a library card bag. I know other bag makers have used this fabric in the past, and this one's Barley Pearls. It's just a really good size for socks, and it has a couple of pockets on the inside, and it even has like a little key ring thing that you can hook on like stitch markers if you want or not. But yeah, I like this bag. I suppose I'll grab a marker or a sock blocker. So I have one finished. So here's where I used some leftover sock yarn because I had just over 50 grams left. Oh, and this, I didn't tell you about this. This was a mini from my stash. I think it was Sonder Yarn Co. minis when they were selling mini skein sets, but I can't remember, but it's just a light pink. My daughter picked that one to go with those socks. Anyways, so this is super duper old stash. This is, I have the tag, Opal. I had made myself a pair of shorties from this yarn years and years and years ago. And I bought this from Pearl Yarn Shop, which many, many years ago was a yarn shop in town. It isn't anymore. I think it only lasted, I don't even know if it lasted a whole 5 years, but my friend ran that shop and I met a lot of my knitting friends through that shop. So, and we still get together. I haven't been able to lately because everybody's too busy on the get together nights, but I still keep in touch with all those guys. Anyways, so this is Opal. In my mind, it's like the Opal and Regia are in the same boat. They're like the original self-striping. They're commercial sock yarn. They wear like bullets. It's way more crunchy than like hand-dyed merino and all that stuff. But they make fun, crazy socks. And this one, I am using my GHFSS sock pattern again. And I just cast on, knit 1 by 1 rib. These are for my daughter again, tall shorties. And then this was left over, I think it was like a Dolly Club from the Farmer's Daughter's Fibers. I've used that for a pair of DK weight socks where I held it double with another type of yarn. But yeah, so this is leftover of that. I thought it went well. It's slightly speckled, but not quite the same tone of purple. And since my daughter likes purple, I thought it would work. So there's the first sock, and I did start the second one. I didn't get very far. I kind of put it down. I was working on blankets yesterday instead of socks. Just in the mood to work on a blanket. Ugh. But yeah, so second one is started. And I'm not making them matching again because she doesn't care. So, not putting in the effort. And there's a charm from Charmed and Dangerous. It's Raven. It came with Edgar Allan Poe as well, which he's on a different project. But yeah, favorite charm maker is Charmed and Dangerous. But yeah, so there's one pair of socks. That'll probably be, you know, I'll get those done before my daughter's birthday, and it'll be another pair for her birthday present. And then the next pair of socks, I decided to cast myself on a pair of shorties. And this is one of my designs as well. It is Uptown Funk. So this, I hadn't done a toe up for a while, which is kind of why I picked this one. So you can do it toe up or top down. This pattern has instructions for both, and it has a shadow wrap heel. And then the fun part is there's like stripes for the up in the cuff area, and it's got a wide rib on the foot and leg. If you want to make a taller leg, you can have the wide stripes on the leg as well. And this yarn is left over. I made my daughter's socks out of this earlier this year, I think. It was the Legacy Fiber Arts Glass Ceiling Sock Kit. I made her a tall pair of socks, and I still had, I'm not sure how much left. Maybe like 50 or high 40s grams left, so I knew I could get a pair of shorties out of it. And I even had enough of the mini left that I'm doing the toes with the mini, and then the stripes for the cuff with the mini. I'm not going to worry about the heel. I'm just going to do the heel in the main color. But yeah, decided to cast those on because I kind of was craving a toe-up sock, and I also was craving a shadow wrap heel. I haven't done that heel for a while. I've done a lot of heel flaps and gussets, either, you know, the traditional one or the square one, and I just felt like doing something different. I get bored of the same old, which is why I have so many knitting projects, because I get bored knitting the same old all the time. And so I decided I wanted to do a different heel. And I like the shadow wrap heel, how it fits me. My daughter is okay with it. It's not her favorite. She prefers like the heel flap and gusset. My husband prefers a heel flap and gusset. So I'm generally the one that wears the shadow wrap heel. It is not as deep of a heel. And so if you don't have, like I have high arches, but I have skinny feet. So my instep still isn't very big, but like my husband has a high instep. Tall instep, I should say, and so that makes it a lot more challenging for him to wear a short row type heel, which is what the shadow wrap is. All right, last project. This is in my redesign number 10 bag. Is my husband's Bibliophile 3 by Alicia Plummer. This is the second version I have made him. I made him one last year, and I'm making him one this year. This is the green one. I am loving this sweater. So last time I was about here. I actually was a little bit further, but you can really see it in the camera here. So I decided not to alternate the skeins for the sleeve. So you can kind of see where it starts after the sleeve, where I rejoined the sleeve. You can kind of see that transition. And then when I did... Originally, I had started a different skein, and it was much darker than this original color, and you could really see this line not on camera. This is not as noticeable, but you can really see that line on camera between this skein and this skein. It doesn't bother my husband, so it won't really bother me. Here's another charm from Charmed and Dangerous. There's the Poe. So yeah. finished that sleeve off. Like I said, I ripped out a chunk and then picked one of my other skeins that was a little bit closer to this colorway. I could have ripped back even further and done a bit of alternating of skeins to blend it a little bit better, but I didn't want to be bothered by that. Yeah, so I got one done. And then I picked up the next sleeve. And this one I am helical knitting because right now my two skeins are the one I was finishing up that sleeve with, and the other one that was a little bit too dark, and you can really see it on screen. This is the darker one, this is the lighter one. But together, sorry, all my needles are kind of everywhere too. Together they are blending nicely. So I am dealing with helical knitting. I don't like to do it when there's decreases or increases, just because I actually have to make like tally marks now, even though I do still mark my decrease rounds, but sometimes my decrease rounds like might have one less row in between if I'm slipping stitches around that decrease set area. So I have to make tally marks to ensure that I'm doing the proper amount of rows, even though it might not show up in there right at that spot. But overall, it is the same amount of rows just because it's slip stitches. If you know how to do helical knitting, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's blending a little bit better on this sleeve than it did on this sleeve. But again, he doesn't care, so I guess I don't care. But yeah, this is almost done. Like, that's how much left I have to knit, essentially, is just that much. And then this sweater will be off the needles, not able to be worn until the fall, but that's okay. Just because we're starting to warm up. We're supposed to get in the 70s again today, even though it's chilly in the morning, so you still might wear it in the office. Like, he works from home, and our home office is in a cooler part of the house. It has more exterior walls, and it's on slab. And so it's not in the basement. Our basement's actually warmer, it's weird, than that room. That room's probably one of our coldest rooms. So yeah. Anyways, so that's all of the knitting. So if you're here just for knitting, that's fine. I do not have any acquisitions this time, which is yay me. I do have a little bit of a gripe, I'll put it. So I watched some other knitting podcasts, and one of them is the Crazy Sock Lady, and she always gets these really cool charms from the Littlest Charm Co. And I'm guessing she gets them for free because she gets like a huge amount sent to her like very often, and I'm sure it is to get people to buy from this person. I put in an order, mid to late January. I think it was January 2022, somewhere in there, of like, I don't know how many charms, 5 or so I could get the free shipping as well. And there were all different types of seasons. Like, I had a St. Patty's Day and a Valentine's Day and all these other things. And there might have even been a Christmas one and some other stuff. And it said like it wouldn't ship out until like March, but I should receive it by, I think it was March 30th was the last possible day that I should receive it by. And I was like, well, that's a long time frame for these, because I'm used to Charmed and Dangerous that even when she has pre-orders, it's like 2 weeks and they're out the door. So I was like, okay, well, different person, I can wait. But then it got to be after, it got to be April, and I hadn't had any communication with the maker. They didn't say, oh, sorry, running late, I still see your order, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. If that would have happened, I would have been fine. Because I understand small businesses, things happen, other things, but no communication whatsoever. And they sell on Etsy. So with Etsy, you can go in and you can like basically make a claim, so to speak. And within that, you can say what you would like to do. If you would like things to be replaced, like if it got lost in the mail, or if you just want your money back or whatever. And so I, it hadn't even shipped yet. And so I was like, I don't even know if she's made these charms, if they're sitting in stock and she kind of forgot about the order or what. I have no idea. So I just said, cancel the order, give me my money back. And she did right away. And then she said something about things have been lost in the mail and she's been having to remake orders and that's why. But again, that's after the fact. She could have reached out to me before when things were building up and she wasn't getting to other orders and said, hey, this is what's happening. I would have been okay with that. It's when I feel like she forgot, or it got misplaced, the order got misplaced or whatever. And it just felt like she didn't really care. And that's where it bothers me more. So I'm just going to put that out there. If you've had good luck with Little's Charm Co., good for you, but I am not going to try to order from her again. I would much prefer to get my charms from Charmed and Dangerous, or Simply Serving's another one that I really like. And they have much better customer service, I guess, and turnaround time. And I've never had any problems with their stuff coming in and at a decent pace. It's like the fact that it was like almost 3 months out, or over 2 months out from when I ordered it to when it was supposed to be delivered, and it still wasn't even shipped. I was like, ugh. I understand pre-orders. I don't like it when pre-orders when you get really far behind and you don't make any effort to say why. That's my problem. So that rant over. Sorry about that, but I just figured I'd put that out there. Anyways. All right. Let's see. Reading, watching, and life stuff. Reading. I finished Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Like I said, it was from Holly Jackson. I watched the series already on Netflix. The book is a little bit different than the series, but they do a pretty good job between the two. I do have the next one with that character, Pippa. What is it called? Good Girl, Bad Blood. Read it. It's across the room in my bookshelf. I do have the next one. I haven't started reading that yet. I was reading or listening to Under the Whispering Door again. It came back from my library, but I was also finishing up something else from them. So I didn't get to it as quickly, and I didn't get through it before it had to be returned again. So I got it renewed again at a later date. I started reading The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemison. It is the second book in the Broken Earth series. I read the first one, which is the 5th season. Did I read that last year? I either read it last year towards the end of the year, or I think it was last year. It's once I got into the series, into the first book, I got it and I was loving it, but it took a while for it to build for me to understand the world that she was making and the people within said world. So I'm very happy to be continuing on with that series. And then I'm still trudging through All the Colors of the Dark from Chris Whitaker. That's my nighttime book. Again, I only probably read 10 to 15 pages at night when I do read at night, because I get tired and I can't stay up. So, and it's like over 500 pages long. So it's just taking me a while to get through it. But yeah, so that's what I'm reading right now. I am we watched Big with the kids. They had never seen that, and I knew that they would like it, and they did. They loved it. So Tom Hanks classic from the 80s probably. My son was even like, when they did the big piano in the department store, he was like, I've seen this on clips or something. And so he was all excited about that he'd seen part of it from a YouTube clip or something else, or a meme. Who knows what it's from. My husband and I finished watching Game of Thrones. He enjoyed the series. Again, wasn't too pleased with the last season like most people. And just some of those things. But yeah, he enjoyed the overall series. So yay, that's done. And we are still watching The Residence. I think I called it The Resident last time by misspeaking, but it's The Residence. It's a murder mystery that just came out on Netflix, set in the White House. And it's very similar to Only Murders in the Building vibe, I'd say. I'm enjoying it greatly. I think we have one episode left, because that's what we started watching at night once we finished Game of Thrones. We have other series that we really want to get into, so I'm sure we'll watch something else after this one. I I think that's about everything for reading and watching. Life stuff. Let's see. What have we been doing the last 2 weeks? Soccer. My son is in soccer. My daughter referees soccer. And so last week they also had a tournament for the traveling leagues in town. And so she reffed on both Saturday and Sunday. My son's games are always on Saturday. I think this weekend is also a Saturday, Sunday tournament thing going on for a league that she'll ref probably both Saturday and Sunday as well. They're ramping up for the musical. That will be not next week, but the week after. They're doing Sound of Music. She helped out with costumes, and now she's more in tech, general tech on like grip work and organizing. They're trying to figure out, like, the director basically put her in charge of managing the backstage area for props and set changes, and she's been organizing the set change list, like what needs to move when and where, and she loves doing that type of stuff. School is still school. My husband and I haven't really done much. We do try to go out to eat on Fridays for like a lunch date. We usually don't go out at night. We're generally our lunch date people. Yeah, I can't think of what else is going on. Just busy. You know, kids had, like, I think last week, my son had an orthodontist appointment. I think my daughter has a dentist appointment coming up. Her birthday's coming up. We're having family coming to visit us next week because there's Easter. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So my dad and his wife are coming back up. They winter in Arizona, and they're coming back home. They live in South Dakota, and they're decided to swing up through us to visit us. Usually he goes to, my brother lives more south in South Dakota. My father lives more north. And so usually they stop in at my brother's place, but he figured, hey, this time we'll stop in at your guys' place as long as the mountain passes are easy to pass through. You never know this time of year with storms. Like, we might get rain, they'll get snow. So you just never know. But yeah, so they're planning on coming up next week. What else? Yeah, so just got to get some house cleaning done. Like our bathroom downstairs, which is technically like the guest bathroom. I don't clean the shower as often because nobody uses it. So when I did bathrooms yesterday, I cleaned the shower, and it was dirty. It was gross. It was, it was like dust buildup essentially on it. It wasn't like gross shower. It was just not used shower. So I got that cleaned, and just gotta, make sure that we get the basement cleaned up so we can pull out the hide-a-bed down there and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it's just, we haven't had company for a while. So it's like, yeah, we gotta get stuff cleaned and ready for visitors. I think that's about it. Next time, I will hopefully have released a new sock design as a DK weight sock pattern. It's finishing up with testing right now. I think they have another week and a half or so. So by next episode, which will be in 2 weeks, that should be out, hopefully. I need to get good pictures for that yet on my end. And then just have the test wrap up, and it should be golden. So hopefully that will be done shortly. So yeah, that's just kind of the things upcoming. So next time you'll see a new design. So that'll be fun. It's been a little while. I haven't been releasing nearly as many as of yet. I have another design that I've been working on. And that one's written up. So once I get that edited, I will get that one out to testers. And then I have another shawl design that I finished the knitting on, and I need to actually put the pattern down on the computer, like write it up on the computer and get that edited so I can get it out to testers as well. So there are some more designs coming down the way. I'm not like a I need to do it. I need to do it. This is more of my hobby job. It's not a way to make a living by any means. So I just do it for fun. All right. I think that's enough rambling. I think that's about it. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. I hope you had a good 2 weeks. And thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing. All right. Bye, guys.